Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So I have a bunch of updates to share with you about Donald Trump's coup clowns. It's been a while since we visited with them and found out what they're up to. And I think we need some good news since he recently did those pardons. So I wanted you guys to all know that they're not off the hook. They're still paying the price for their alleged illegal activity, or at least, you know, immoral activity if it wasn't illegal. So here's the deal. There's court cases still going on, people being disbarred and suspended. So Pam Bondi and all of her little minions, they might want to pay attention to this because this is what they have in store for them, or what will be waiting for them, I should say, in the future. Before I dive into all of this, though, please do me a big favor. Hit the subscribe button below this video. It is free. It really helps the show, so I greatly appreciate that. So first up, I have a news about attorney Kenneth Chesbro. And I will say with a caveat, this may change because of those pardons that Donald Trump just announced, but I'm not sure because they're not really viable for state cases. So we'll see. But anyway, a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks back at this point, it could be longer, a federal appeals court ruled that Chesbro's law license should be suspended in Washington, D.C. So Chesbro was accused of, as you guys probably remember, of being one of the primary authors of the fake electors scheme to try to keep Trump in power after the 2020 election. Well, Chesbro took a plea deal in October of 2023 for one count of conspiracy to commit filing false documents. That was in the case brought against him and like 18 people, I think, all in total in the state of Georgia. So I'm sure you guys remember that was the case with Fani Willis. So Chesbro's law license was subsequently suspended after that in California, Massachusetts, New York, and Florida, and now it's been suspended in D.C. Well, a few months back, Chesbro was disbarred in New York. So not doing good. Like I said, I don't know how that fake pardon that Trump just issued affects this, but that's where things stand. Another attorney who's really in the find out phase of his journey is John Eastman. So I've shared with you guys also that Eastman's California law license was suspended. That was a while ago. He was also or known as the main architect of the fake electors plot. And now the state bar of California has recommended that he be disbarred. So, they can suspend him, the bar can, but then it has to go through the actual state bar and I think the state attorney general or something like that. Anyway, or that's what it is. The final decision, then it goes to the California Supreme Court. So the bar attorney told them, because they'll be making the decision, quote, Eastman made myriad knowing misrepresentations in written memoranda, in court filings, in media, and in person, falsely alleging that the 2020 presidential election had been stolen through election fraud and illegalities. After losing arguments in the courts with state election officials and with state legislatures, Eastman concocted the theory that the vice president, as president of the Senate, could reject or delay the count of the legally valid state-certified electors from the 7 swing states. There is no doubt that Eastman's misconduct caused immeasurable and far-reaching harm and disrepute to the profession, the public, and democracy itself. And significant aggravation should have been assigned for these harms. So, as you would expect, Eastman is appealing that recommendation. Again, I don't know how this is going to be affected. He was one of the people that Trump issued that fake pardon for. So I will keep you posted on all of this. But former attorney Rudy Giuliani is also facing consequences for lying on Trump's behalf. He was also named as being granted a pardon, but at the end of September, The Washington Post had reported that Giuliani agreed to settle a defamation lawsuit that was brought against him by Dominion Voting Systems. So they did not let him off the hook. As you guys all know, Dominion sued him and others for $1.3 billion for pushing the big lie about the election. Well, not only did it cost Dominion business, but their employees, as I've mentioned before, were subjected to death threats. They were harassed by Trump supporters. So they sued a bunch of Trump allies, and the majority of them have caved and settled because they know they have no evidence. They have zero evidence of mass election fraud, and they were going to have their asses handed to them in court. Well, Giuliani doesn't have much ass left. He's been hit with so many judgments and rulings against him. So there was the settlement, with Ruby Freeman and Shane Moss. We don't know how much that was, but it was pretty substantial given the judgment against him. And then more recently, a judge had ordered Giuliani to pay his attorneys, who he had not paid, almost $1.4 million in legal fees. So not good for Giuliani. Unfortunately, I don't know how much he paid Dominion. I don't know what they settled for because it was undisclosed. If I ever find out, I will definitely let you know. Next up is the story about another Trump ally who was sued for defamation. So on September 26th, a federal judge ruled that Lumpy Pillow Man Mike Lindell had defamed Smartmatic Voting Company. So confirmed, yes, he defamed them with his lies about the 2020 election. The judge, he cited 51 statements that Lindell made in which he falsely said that Smartmatic rigged the election for Joe Biden. And the judge wrote, quote, "The court concludes that based on the record presented, no reasonable trier of fact could find that any of the statements at issue are true." And Smartmatic's attorney said that they plan to seek a 9-figure judgment against Lindell. Here's the problem, though, and why they may never see anything. They may never see a dime. It's not because Lindell is broke, because he is, but the judge isn't actually sure that Lindell's statements were made with actual malice. And that is the legal bar that they have to clear. That's the legal requirement in order to win a defamation judgment. The judge thinks, and I kind of agree with him, that Lindell actually believed what he was saying. So I've said this before, I don't think Lindell is intelligent enough or has the cognitive ability to understand that he was lied to. I think he has so much brain damage from all of his drug abuse, and that's not, me being flippant, that I'm being honest. I honestly think he doesn't realize that Trump made the whole thing up. Why else would he give up every dime that he has trying to find non-existent voter fraud? In any case, this is going to be going back to court, and the jury will make a decision. So it'll go before a jury trial. They will make the final determination. And Lindell is freaking out about this. So take a look. He was on, I think this was on his own show, but he is just rambling, and I'll explain afterwards.
This is one of the big lawsuits. This was the biggie. This was the $1.5 billion against MyPillow and Mike Lindell, and which wasn't expected to go to trial for 2 more years. This is going to get appealed. I don't have the funds to do it, but we have the judge gave us 30 days. Now we have 22 more days to raise this money for this appeal. And you can go to mypillowtrial.com. You can call the number 800-648-8986 to put money into this appeal. I believe it's going to cost like $300,000. I'm sitting here without 300 cents, but I tell you what, this will get appealed. I don't care if I have to go to door to raise the money. This isn't just me. This is our whole country.
Yeah, I mean, he rambled on. That was just a fraction of it. He rambled on for almost 10 minutes about that appeal in the case. of course, he continues to fearmonger. He claims that the judge is corrupt. A whistleblower came out and admitted everything that Smartmatic, did, and blah, blah, blah. The guy is completely delusional. Obviously, if a legitimate whistleblower had come forward, you don't think that Trump would have that person in the Oval Office today doing a press conference and telling everybody what they found? Come on. Oh my God. Even Trump doesn't want to touch this whole thing. Anyway, if you'd like to donate, donate. I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Anyway, if you'd like to donate, now you know where you can do that. Or you could donate to his gubernatorial campaign. Yes, that's right. Everyone, meet your potential next governor of Minnesota. Apparently, the Republican Party isn't exactly excited about this. Can't imagine why. But yeah, he thinks he's going to run for governor and win against Tim Walz in Minnesota, in a blue state. And check this out. We have more right-on-right violence. Trump humper Joe Altman, I've mentioned him before. He's a podcaster. Well, he is also now suing fellow election denier Mike Lindell. Joel Altman also is an election denier. He was also in on this whole Stop the Steal BS. Well, Altman and a woman named Michelle Klan, they have now filed a lawsuit. They just did this last week, and they allege that they loaned Mike Lindell $3 million back in August of 2023, and he never paid them. Evidently, Lindell, after they kept pressuring him, he then signed a settlement agreement with them in November of 2024. So, last year, a year ago. He agreed, okay, you know what? I'm going to pay you $10,000 a month and we'll get this paid off. He has never, according to them, made a single solitary payment. I mean, you would have to be the biggest fool on the planet to loan this man money at this point. I mean, and is there anyone in the US or on the planet who isn't suing Mike Lindell? But besides me? I mean, this is what happens when you fall for election fraud fairy tales and you loan money to a former crack addict. Not going to end well. And speaking of idiots who fell for the 2020 fairy tale, I have updates to share about Tina Peters. She is, as you all know, that former Colorado County clerk who was sentenced to 9 years behind bars because she helped to facilitate the illegal access of the voting machines and voting data and the copying of that data by people who were not permitted to even be anywhere near it. So she's been locked up for about a year. And the entitled spoiled brat is throwing yet another tantrum, just like she did in court. So check this out.
Clearly getting frustrated, and now she acknowledges she's running out of money for her legal defense. In a long message that Peters posted online, she wrote, quote, "The president has demanded my release 4 times. Why is the DOJ defying Trump's demand? Get off your blanks and get me out." Tina Peters said this week, quote, "I cannot pay my attorneys and my appeal still has a very long time to go." She urged the Trump administration to find a way to free her, even if judges say the law says she should continue her 9-year sentence. Just do it, she wrote, and deal with the court later.
So she's urging Trump to defy the courts. Right? Just as I would expect from an unrepentant criminal. And why is this woman able to post on social media while she's in prison? Right? I do agree with the right that our justice system, it is far too lenient. It just is. Anyway, Trump's Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, he is taking heat from MAGA over this whole Tina Peters issue. Take a look at this. So evidently, the MAGA crowd had a scheme to try to move Peters to a puppy prison like where Ghislaine Maxwell is. They wanted Trump's DOJ to claim that Peters is a witness in a federal case. And then that would grant them the authority to move her from the Colorado State Prison to a cushy Club Fed. But according to Trump humper and former Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne, who is also in on the whole 2020 election fraud BS, apparently Blanche put the kibosh on that. So, and you know he wouldn't do that without Trump's approval. So Tina Peters better wake up. Trump has no interest in helping her. So anyway, now, because of all of this and the fallout, a bunch of Trump's Kool-Aid cult members are just out for blood with him. So MAGA influencers like Alex Jones, also the Hodge twins, they're all calling for Blanche to be fired. So much drama, so much right on right violence. So I'll let you guys know what happens. This is just, it's never ending. But yeah, I hope that they all somehow, some way have to pay for the things that they did to our country, because indirectly they are responsible for January 6th. Make no mistake. If it was only Donald Trump lying about the election, it wouldn't have gone so far. It wouldn't have gotten the traction that it did. But because he had so many other people willing to lie on his behalf, people who knew better, not like Mike Lindell, but people who actually have a brain and knew better and went along with it anyway, yeah, they are responsible. They're responsible for all the bloodshed on January 6th. They're responsible for the officers who took their lives in an indirect way. So, all right, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.